We're talking today about the Threshold Rite, also known as the turning of the wheel ceremony. This is one of the most essential observances of the priestess path. As priestesses, we're learning to embody ritual as a way of life. Ritual being the most ancient technology of human transformation. And when we honor endings, we become magnetic to the freshness of new beginnings because the universe recognizes us as women who tend her cycles with reverence. And we sink back into the harmony of nature, the gifts of which are endless, including deep and vibrant health, awakened sensuality, sexuality, increased power to manifest, increased sense of deep purpose and meaning and service in our lives, which of course all of this then becomes a blessing to those in our lives. These rituals 4 times a year become a way of life, a way of tending our memory, a way of honoring our growth, a way of even recapitulating or looking back at the past and reflecting on what would we have done differently. And in a world that's always rushing forward, the feminine remembers that endings are sacred and closure is power. So before we call in the new, we honor what's been. How something ends is how the next thing will begin. So we want to close out the season and set intention for the coming season. This is a soul hygiene and magic cultivation practice. This is one of the most essential priestess practices. We honor the new moon, we honor the full moon. We honor the seasonal transitions, and we honor our blood at the very bare bones, basic minimum. Women have always honored these transitions. This is the feminine spiritual path, the path of cyclical intelligence, the path of attuning to nature's cycles and allowing her to draw us in to harmony and alignment. The 4 seasons move around the wheel, and during the solstices and equinoxes, we hit the peak. So summer solstice, peak of summer, we descend into Lunasaw, that midpoint or cross-quarter holiday between summer solstice and fall equinox. And really, at these cross-quarter holidays, this is where the energy of the next season is initiated. They're known as fire holidays: Lunasaw, Samhain, Imbolc, Beltane, between those sacred equinoxes and solstices. And they are the beginning of a shift. A fire is lit under the next season, and the energy begins to open to the vibration and the elemental transmission of that season. So we're just about to hit Samhain here, that midpoint between fall equinox and winter solstice. This is when the first remnants of winter are felt. And yet we're still in fall. We're in a no man's land. We're in a threshold portal. Now, we could certainly look at the wheel of the year, or we could look at a calendar and decide what days, what season starts. But instead, we look within and we look outside. Actually, more than anything, we go into nature. Every day, we take her temperature, we taste her soil, we drink her water, we feel her air touch our skin. And do we want a sweater, or do we want to take off our clothes? And this is how we know when the season is ready to die, when the season is ready to release. So this journey, this teaching today is really about how to tend that death, how to be the midwife of the death of that season in order to welcome in the birth of the next season. Now, this is a deeply personal practice, an invitation for you to reflect back on how you learned and how you grew. What were your deepest challenges? How are you spiritually expanding with each passing season? Yes, we're busy. Yes, we live in full lives. Yes, we're modern urban priestesses who are navigating things that our ancestors never did. And we make it real for our lives. This can be a 1-minute ceremony. This can be a 5-day ceremony. This could be a fast. This could be a vacation. This could be 5 minutes. The point is we are training our brain to not only attune to the seasons, but to live a life of honoring, a life of growth and expansion, a life of self-reflection, and a life in service to all beings across time and space. So as we move into the nitty-gritty of how these rituals work, we're going to preface, as we always do with our priestess work, that while this is deeply personal and infuses our being with appreciation for life and a deeper attunement to the magic of nature and a deeper capacity to harness that magic, we are always practicing ritual in service to the whole. We know that when we are in alignment with the Tao, when we are channeling earth and sky, we are in a place of harmony that benefits the whole. And we always make that conscious intention. So we step into the reflection practice when you sense, so right now the summer has ended here. So I did my practice a couple weeks back, and you want to really sense like, ooh, is it fall yet? Ooh, is it fall yet? And when you start to see those signs and you feel its truth in your body, you will know intuitively. And then you'll be moving into reflection practice. It's really powerful to have your own journal. I always use this in my priestess. I always did this in my priestess journal or my regular journal. And now I'm so sorry I did, because I have so many years where 4 times a year I do a life audit and I don't. And I have those in like all different journals now. So now I have a journal that's just for seasonal transitions. So that's a more advanced, consistent practice to grow into. Or if it helps you, get that journal from the start for sure, because it is a life memory harnessing gift to ourselves and our descendants for us to be in this reflection and to have a copy of it. So we want to reflect on the questions I have below, which are: what major events and transitions and challenges shaped me this season? What are the hidden gifts or initiations? How did you grow physically, emotionally, spiritually? What is ready to be released with gratitude? And what is your intention for the next season? Now, I do invite you to journal, but not always do you have time at that particular portal. Maybe it's the threshold of a week and you're like, oh, I really want to let go of summer. Really time to let go of summer. And somehow you're not getting around to the journaling. Sit, be with yourself. Go in nature, sit and be with yourself and reflect on these questions. And then we move into a simple ritual, and every season has its corresponding energy. We have fire in the summer, water in the winter, the west. We have the earth in the north, and then we have the winter, and we have the east with the air element. So these are 4 different types of elemental rituals. How can you incorporate that season you're letting go of? How can you honor it through its element? So when summer ends, I honored it with a fire ceremony. Sometimes it's been a big bonfire. Sometimes I've had a fire in my house. Sometimes it's in a little cauldron. I have it right here. Boop. Sometimes it's, actually my most recent one, it was one of those where like I didn't have a ton of time and I wasn't in a place where I was in nature. I wasn't in my home when I was like ready to release. I was traveling. And so I wrote it all down on a piece of paper and then I burned it and let it burn in my hand until I had to release it to the soil. And then I released it to the soil, stamped it out, buried the ashes, kept a few ashes as offering. So that's an example: releasing summer, releasing winter. We want to use the earth. We want to bury something. It could be a symbol of that winter. It could be an offering for winter. Bury it and release that season, welcoming spring. Spring is the more challenging. It's the air element. So you can burn things as well. You think about the smoke emanating upward. You can sing, activating the voice. You can practice, make music. You can pound the earth with your feet, calling up the seeds. You can speak to the wind, incorporating the wind. And when it comes to that water element, we know we want to go to a body of water and honor the season of fall, that releasing, that letting go, that baptism energy. So you are ready to make your own ceremonies because you've been studying ritual, you've been studying ceremony, and this is up to your creativity, and you don't have to be complex about this. And I do invite you to, structure your life around these ceremonies, structure your month around it, even if it's only going to be an hour out in nature. And even if it doesn't have to, you don't need any extra things, you don't buy anything, you don't have to have a special candle, although that'd be cool, right? But just, you got your lighter, you got your fireplace, you've got, a shell from a last relationship that you let go of in the winter, and you're going to bury it to release the winter. So as we cross this threshold, whether it's a change in season or we're really learning to cultivate capacity to hold ceremony personally and collectively for others with the closing of a relationship or a project or a phase of life, we want to remember that completion is creation because it births the next thing. How something ends is how something begins. So let the season go with love as your friend. It is a living, breathing entity. The seasons are alive. The earth is alive. The season of summer, it's literally an energetic entity, consciousness. So we are making friends with the season. We are coming to know the season intimately. How does our body react in the season? How does our heart expand? Like, I can tell you every fall, oh my gosh, I need a third more sleep than I have for the last 2 seasons. And my dreams literally flip like a switch. It is insane. Like right after fall equinox, when energetic fall drops, it's like a switch lifts. And I'm like, whoa, dreaming so much every night and become even more devoted to my journal practice. I know that I struggle in winter. I can tend to get, I'm processing through the underworld feelings and emotions. It's hard for me to rest. So winter's teaching me rest, right? And this is how we want to really think about each of these seasons, that it holds intelligence, wisdom, transmission, knowledge that we need as women, as humans, as priestesses in this shifting time. That the summer really teaches us how to burn bright and be passionate, be sensual, be awake, be alive. Balance our fire with water, get to that river, get to that lake energetically and physically. And each of the seasons has their own medicine in this way. So really we want to ask, what is the medicine of spring as you release it? And how did I come to know spring better? How did I come to know this friend better? And now, friend, I release you and I look forward to seeing you next year. You got the yearly visit and I can't wait. And I thank you and I desire to be like you. I desire to hold your lessons. And this could just be for the season itself, like as in the season of winter has a certain temperature, it has certain holidays, it has certain, the light looks a certain way, the moon appears at a different place on the horizon during different seasons. But also you can map the wheel of life and the wheel of the feminine hormonal cycle to all the seasons as well. So you can think about in spring, really honoring your inner child and letting her know you can't wait to get to know her even better next spring. Or, really honoring the essence of that follicular period in spring, the beginning of hormonal cycle when you're so creative and experimental and playful, like your inner child is present through your hormones, and really, maybe enact maybe dance in that ceremony because you're just honoring that part of yourself that is free-flowing and intuitive and organic. So there's infinite creativity available in these rituals, and they can be as complex or as simple as you like. It is up to you, priestess, because you have trained and studied in the wheel of the year, in the cycle of the seasons and the moon, and in your own inner space. You can incorporate goddesses. You can incorporate friends. You can hold circles during this time. You can do it together with your partner. You can do it together with your kids. Powerful practice. Keep it as simple as you like. Could be 5 minutes. Keep it as complex as you like to take a refuge for yourself through sanctuary, through ritual, in a full life. All right. If you have any questions, you let me know. And blessed be, beautiful priestess.